Hi Brollies, Marvin here from TechBroll.com, where we do unboxings, reviews, and sexy b-rolls. And today we're going to do an unboxing review of the ASUS ROG Keris Optical Gaming Mouse. This gaming mouse features lightweight construction, but without the typical holes on the shell, and it also features one of the most unique functionality on a gaming mouse, which is hot-swappable switches. In this video, we'll discuss about its design, construction, grip styles, performance, and we'll also tear it apart to see what's inside and how to replace the switches. With that being said, let's get into it. Alright guys, so right here we have the packaging for the ASUS ROG Keris, and to no surprise, it is pretty much similar to any ASUS ROG peripheral in terms of package design. In front, we have an image preview, model name and branding, and then at the back of the box, we have another image preview, as well as some of its key features and specifications that we're going to tackle later. I'll pop the complete specifications on the screen so that you can check it out. But what's important here is that it has PBT buttons, 100% PTFE gliders, ROG micro switches with hot-swappable sockets, ROG paracord cable, 62 grams of weight, and a tried and tested PMW3389 sensor. The packaging is a slide type design, and inside the box we have the ASUS ROG Keris gaming mouse itself and a bunch of accessories nicely packed inside a plastic. So we have a couple of Omron micro switches, which is awesome that we already have this out of the box. Then we have 4 replacement PTFE gliders, a warranty guide, a user manual written in different languages, and a couple of ROG eye stickers, so you can brag about your spanking new ROG gaming mouse. Alright guys, now let's take a look at the ASUS ROG Keris gaming mouse. At first look and touch, you can definitely feel that lightweight construction, and as you can tell, the form factor is quite unique with a narrower or slimmer than usual width, which may help with the grip and could make lifting of this mouse easier than normal, but of course that would still depend on the size of your hand and your grip style. As for the weight, it is marketed at around 62 grams, but take note that this is without the cable, and with the cable in consideration, the overall weight is around 65 grams, as you can see here using 2 different weighing scales. And to be fair with ASUS ROG, it is specified on the complete specifications on their website. With that being said, what's awesome about this is that they were able to reduce the weight to 65 grams without resorting to the usual hype of honeycomb hole design, which some people find awkward or uncomfortable to hold. With this, you still have lightweight construction while having the familiar shape and feel of a regular mouse. By the way, as you can tell, this is the wired version, but there is also a wireless version available, which I'll probably review as well in the future. Now let's move around the mouse and discuss everything it has to offer. Here on top, we have the left and right mouse clickers with the ROG red switches, which are quite light to actuate with a very distinct crispy click on them. Of course, this is specifically made with gamers in mind for easy actuation for fast-paced FPS games. Now in terms of the scroll wheel, it is pretty solid with tight tactile notches and without any squeaking sounds and wobble. It is also quite clicky and tactile when you press on it. And I also like the texture and feel of the rubber ring. No problems here. Now, we don't have a DPI adjustment button here, which I find really weird, especially for a gaming mouse. Flipping it on the left side, we have the forward and back buttons that are pretty easy to reach with my relatively small and chubby hands and without me having to adjust my grip, which is very important for these buttons to be useful. In terms of the surface, for the mouse buttons, it is made out of PBT plastic with a familiar rough texture that could possibly help with the grip. Essentially, this means that you don't have to add grip tape that will just add some weight to the mouse. Additionally, since this is made out of PBT plastic, it will not shine or not easily shine over time. Now, this is in contrast with the rest of the shell with this quite smooth matte finish. We also have here the iconic ROG Eye logo, which does illuminate alongside the scroll wheel when this is plugged in. Now, flipping it on the right side, we also have the same texture here with an ROG logo, and we also have the same texture actually on the same side, which is good for easily gripping this mouse. Now, turning it all over at the bottom, instead of just 2 large mouse gliders, we have 4 smaller mouse gliders here, which ASUS claims are directional and more efficient than having larger mouse gliders. We also have here the DPI adjustment button and another mouse glider around the PMW3389 sensor. And lastly, here at the bottom, we have some certifications, technical information, and the ROG Eye logo and the model name. Now, in terms of the cable, we have a substantial 2 meters of lightweight and flexible paracord cable with an ROG branded Velcro strap. As you can see, the cable is flexible and lightweight enough that it doesn't introduce any unnecessary movement on the mouse, and if you have a mouse bungee, it is safe to say that you wouldn't even feel this cable exists. As for the shape of this mouse, this is the side profile. As you can see, the bump is a little bit at the center. Now here's the rear profile where you can get a better understanding of its curvature. And here's the other side and the front side. So as you can see, this mouse is for right-handed users. As for grip styles, depending on the size of your hand, it is probably suitable for palm grip users, fingertip users, and claw grip users, as you can still easily click the buttons even up to this point, and the bump of the mouse is not that high for palm grip users. Here's a quick side-by-side and the specific dimensions for your reference. By the way, I also appreciate this sort of minimalist design for the ASUS ROG Keris with just a completely black colorway with a subtle ROGI logo that you can turn the illumination off completely if you're not into that. It doesn't have any unnecessary flare, aggressive cutouts, and design elements that you typically see on other gaming mice. In fact, more and more brands are moving away from the obnoxious gamery-like design that most often than not only appeals to kids and younger individuals. Now, speaking of design, let's quickly compare the size, shape, and design of the ASUS ROG Keris to some of the lightweight gaming mice that I have here in the studio. And to make this real quick, since we have more to discuss here, I'll just show them to you side by side so that you can have an idea about their differences. And now, here's a quick sound test for all the buttons and the mouse gliders. Now, before we move on to the performance side of things, let's discuss the most unique feature of this gaming mouse, and that is hot-swappable switches. At first, when I found out that I have to remove some screws in order to replace the switches, I thought it's kinda hassle, but after trying it myself, it is actually quite easy. All you have to do is remove the two rubber covers at the bottom, and don't worry as they are not attached using adhesive, so putting them back later should be a piece of cake as well. Now, after that, just unscrew the screws from the shell, pull the shell upwards gently like so, and there you have it. We have the internals of the ASUS ROG Keris. So in terms of the switches, the default switches installed are the ROG Red switches that, as I've pointed out earlier, is quite lightweight and has a distinct crispy click on them. Now, the included replacement micro switches are from Omron, and replacing the switches is super easy via the hot-swappable socket, also known as the push-fit switch socket. All you have to do is pull the switch out like so, line up the new switch, and press it down like so. Pretty straightforward and easy. As for the difference between these two switches, as far as I can tell, the ROG Red switches are louder and clickier compared to the black Omron switches. Here's a quick sound test. As for the side forward and back buttons, they are from Kale. Overall, this is a pretty unique and functional feature that can possibly extend the lifespan of this mouse, as you can easily change the switches if ever some of it becomes faulty at some point, and as long as the board itself is functional, you can probably use this mouse for a very long time, which is a good investment. Alright guys, let's move on to the gaming performance of the ASUS ROG Keris gaming mouse. Alright guys, so let's see how fast I can kill some bots here using the ASUS ROG Keris. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, oops, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, oops, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 28, 29, 30. There you go. So, for the sensor, of course, with a PMW 3389, you should expect a pretty decent sensor for FPS games. Accuracy is on point, as you can tell. I'm not that good in FPS, but as you can see, I can place my crosshair wherever I want, as accurate as possible. I just need to improve my reflex. And in terms of micro adjustment, it is also quite good. I use my pinky finger to lift off the mouse a little bit when it comes to micro adjustments, so that's my method. My DPI is just around 800, so I'm not ready yet to try 400 DPI or lower DPI at 400. So yeah, in terms of the shape, well, I like the fact that the width is quite narrow, so I can easily lift off the mouse, though I really don't lift off the mouse quite often, except for when adjusting the mouse. That's the only time that I actually lift off the mouse, and most of the time I aim using my wrist, using my fingers. I don't use my forearm. That's just how I play FPS games, or how I use a mouse. But I feel like in terms of the length, it's a bit longer than I would have preferred, because I have a relatively small and chubby hands. And yeah, I like the narrow width, but I don't like the longer length of the mouse itself. But overall, I can still see myself using this, though I still like the shape and the smaller size of the Logitech G304 for my personal preference. But overall, I don't feel any issue with this mouse, and I feel like transitioning to this mouse is not that hard. Though of course, if you're coming from G304, definitely you will need some time to getting used to with the larger or longer shape of the ASUS ROG Keris. So in terms of gaming performance, of course, definitely it is pretty reliable, accurate, and yeah, you just have to consider the shape of the mouse as well as the shape or size of your hand. If you can get comfortable with this, especially for longer gaming sessions. It also doesn't spin out, as I'll show you here. There you go. I can do 180 degrees without the sensor spinning out, without my crosshair going up or down. For the most part, it is well controlled, which is pretty expected from this sensor. And of course, for tracking, slow tracking, I don't see any unnecessary jittering, no erratic movements either, which is pretty good. So yeah, I can definitely recommend this for FPS games, especially if you can get comfortable with a longer length and narrower width of the shape of this mouse. Alright guys, so let's talk about the software, which is the ASUS Armory Crate, which is their sort of all-in-one application for all ASUS peripherals and devices. So right here, we have the first page of the Armory Crate, which is, as you can tell, the news page where you have a lot of different ads, which I don't personally prefer. But of course, you can just skip that part and go to the peripherals itself. So we have my motherboard, B550A Gaming, my graphics card, RTX 3070, and of course, we have the ROG Keris right here. So we'll focus on this part of the software. So on the first tab, we have the buttons. So this is where you can pretty much change the functionality of the buttons available on this mouse, which is the left and right mouse clickers, as well as the buttons and scroll wheel right here. So you can pretty much change this to a different mouse function, keyboard function, and of course you can also use this for toggling different macros, Windows shortcut, multimedia, text input, screenshots, and stealth. And of course you can disable the button entirely. So you can do that for the scroll up, scroll click, scroll down, and right button. Of course, the left button is the standard button, which cannot change, as you can tell here, which is grayed out. Of course, you can also change the functionality of the forward and back buttons. There you go. And then going to the second tab, which is the performance tab, we have here the DPI adjustment settings. So you can adjust at least 4 DPI preset, 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. And you can adjust each DPI settings in increments of 100, as you can see here. Personally, I use DPI 800. So it is nice that you can set it in increments of 100 and up to 16,000 DPI. Of course, we also have here the angle snapping, polling rate from 125 Hz to 1000 Hz, as well as the button response time from 12 milliseconds to 30 milliseconds. Aside from that, going to the third tab, which is the lighting tab, we have here the available lighting effects: static, breathing, color cycle, reactive, partition, and of course aura sync. And you can also integrate this with the aura creator. I'm not going to dive into that, but you have that as an option. You can also change here the LED brightness, and let's see if we do have the speed. I don't think we have the speed settings here, so basically you can just change the brightness and the colors. There you go, pretty straightforward. Now, on the fourth tab, we have the surface calibration, wherein you can calibrate different types of mouse pads, different textures and surfaces. But one thing that I noticed here, which is kind of weird, is when you enable the surface calibration, it will immediately go to the preset surfaces, and it is set to the Balteus key, which I think is a hard surface. And apparently, if I move my mouse around, it doesn't respond, probably due to the different texture. So you have to grab another mouse for you to be able to move your mouse around, as you can tell here, so that you can either choose different mouse textures like this, so that you can move around your ROG Keris, or set it to manual calibration right here. So that's kind of weird that it defaults to a preset surface that otherwise are not available to most users, and you're stuck with the mouse not moving around. So if you don't have any other mouse lying around, then you're going to have a problem for surface calibration. Now, once it works, you can start calibrating, and you can just move around your mouse so that it can calibrate your surface. Right now, I'm using the X-Ray Pad Equate mousepad. So it's nice that we have this sort of calibration tool, but it's kind of weird that we have that sort of bug on the initial enabling of the surface calibration. Last but not the least, we have the fifth tab, which is the firmware update. So I just updated the firmware of this mouse earlier before I actually tested it. So it's nice that we have that here on the software. So again, we're using the Armory, the ASUS Armory crate. And yeah, this is pretty much the software. Pretty straightforward, quite useful nonetheless. So to conclude, the ASUS ROG Keris offers a lot to the table when it comes to the lightweight gaming mouse market space. It offers a very unique and functional hot-swappable switches and a lightweight construction, while being able to retain the familiar feel of a traditional gaming mouse. Performance is also outstanding, with a pretty unique shape that could cater to a lot of different hand sizes. All in all, if you don't want the downsides of the wireless version, this wired version of the ASUS ROG Keris is a pretty decent option. And there you have it, guys. Thank you for watching. Huge thanks to ASUS ROG for sending this in. You can get this from their official stores link below. Let me know in the comments below if you're interested to see a review of the wireless version of this mouse. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you like this, and see you next time. Have a great day, guys. You're awesome.